Hello, my name is Alfonso Vargas. I work for the University of Huelva in Spain, and it's a pleasure to be here with you to introduce in brief this appendix of evaluation of a strategy once the authors of this textbook, Professors Pelicano and Chiasulo, gave me the opportunity to participate in this work. Well, the evaluation of a strategy is a fascinating field. Of course, a strategy evaluation has to be part of our management system, the company's management system. And I think it's relevant to introduce you this topic to mention some ideas to bring you into the context of the evolution of management systems in organizations. In the past, management systems were closely related to the idea of reactiveness. So our business environment changed, our strategy changes as a result of these modifications in our business environment. This is the idea of reaction, of reactiveness. Today, the idea is the idea of proactiveness. Today, the attempt is to create the future. So react as a result of changes in the future is not enough. We have to do our best to anticipate changes in our business environment and even to create the future. This is the second idea we can see here from the extrapolation to the creation of the future. Nowadays, the extrapolation of the past is something unthinkable. So business environment is so dynamic, is so changeable that there is no way to extrapolate the past to understand the future. The past is telling us very little about the future. So this is why it's critical to develop this ability to anticipate changes, to create the future. So just for the reason, management systems have moved from a management by control, monitoring budgets, financial control, this was the past, although this is still important in the present, to a management system based on strategic problems and surprises as a result of this dynamic and uncertain business environment. So this is the situation that this slide tries to show us. Of course, this task of strategy evaluation has to be based on both external changes and internal trends. It's important to monitor changes in our business environment, to understand threats and opportunities we have to deal with in the upcoming future. It's critical to understand our weak points and our strong points within the organization as a result of this business environment we have to deal with. It's important to compare our objectives with our performance to see if there are some undesirable deviation we have to correct. So the identification of this gap. So all this information provides us a sort of information to assess the level of impacts we have to manage in our organization. As a result of this analysis, we'll be able to say, okay, this problem is a very urgent problem. We have to take an immediate action. Or by the contrary, we can say, okay, this problem deserves to be watched over time, deserves to be supervised, but not an immediate action is necessary. Or maybe this is a deferrable problem. We have to pay attention to this, but action has to be taken in the future, later on. Or this is a minor problem and no attention, no action is necessary. So it's relevant also not to get lost. This appendix about the strategy evaluation has to be in the context of the whole strategic formation process. We have here the stages of strategic thinking and strategic analysis, strategic formulation, strategic programming, and we are located here, we are positioned here in the stage of strategic implementation and control, which is absolutely critical because has been demonstrated in many works, in many researches, that most of the failures implementing business strategies are the result of problems at this stage of implementation and control, this stage of evaluation, which is the topic of this particular appendix. Also, it's relevant to bear in mind the two main avenues of sources of strategy nowadays: the planned strategy and the emerging strategy. Of course, as a result of this uncertain and dynamic environment, the emergent side is becoming more and more important. We can say that the strategic control has two main parts. The first part is the control of the strategy implementation. I would say to be sure that the actions included in our strategic plan have been implemented, have been put into practice, to be sure that our objectives have been fulfilled, but take into consideration that this is a posteriori control. So once things have been done, we try to be sure that our aims, that our actions and objectives have been fulfilled. This is important to identify undesirable deviation and to analyze why these deviations are there. But this is not enough for strategic purposes nowadays. We need the second part, which is a priori strategic control. I mean, the control of the strategy formulation, the control, the monitor of the business environment with the main changes and trends reshaping the future, the monitor and control of what is happening within our organization, the monitoring and controlling of our human resources, of our internal processes, of our abilities for learning and growth, etc., etc. So this is what is called usually business intelligence, and this is critical nowadays, this a priori side of the strategy control or evaluation. And following this slide, it's important to create an information system for this strategic control. We need information to make decisions. There is no way to make good decisions without a good information system. So this means that we need some performance measurement. This means that we need to monitor carefully the critical areas within our company, the critical areas related to the final success of our business. So, this analysis, or what is called the strategic audit, as you can see here, have two different dimensions. A qualitative dimension and a quantitative dimension connected to this idea of indicators and information system. But it's also relevant, this qualitative side, because being able to give an answer to these questions is something really important. Questions such as, is this strategy internally consistent? Is this strategy consistent with our portfolio of resources and capabilities? Is the strategy consistent with the business environment? Is our strategy appropriate, bearing in mind our business environment and the changes and trends ahead, reshaping the future? Is the strategy appropriate given the resources available? Is realistic, taking into consideration the resources we have, the financial resources we have, the human resources we have, and their qualifications, etc.? Is the strategy too risky? Are we able to assume the level of risk associated with this strategy under evaluation? Is right the time frame of this strategy? Are our objectives maybe too ambitious? Maybe it's necessary to take longer to achieve those objectives? So these kind of questions are critical for our final success. But at the same time, we need the quantitative side of this kind of strategic audit. We need a number of indicators able to monitor the critical areas of our company. We have here an example of some critical areas: the financial situation, production, position in the market, personnel, relationship with community and society. Well, this is an example. There are other possibilities. For example, if you have a look to the balance scorecard, which is a tool being studied in this textbook, you can take the financial dimension, the customer's perspective, the internal processes perspective and indicators, and learning and growth dimension and indicators related to our ability to learn and grow. So, once the critical areas have been defined, a number of key indicators will be calculated in order to follow our progress. Some ratios, some indicators will be used in this information system, and a number of standards are also necessary to compare our data, to compare our indicators with, for example, the historical situation of the company, circumstances foreseen, levels of the sector, business objectives. We need a point of reference to say we are making good progress, we are evolving positively, or by the contrary, we have to take some corrections, some new measures to see what's happening and to correct negative or undesirable deviation. So this is the idea, the purpose of this appendix. Of course, you have the opportunity to give more details going to the textbook, to this appendix, to other chapters in this textbook. So thanks a lot for your attention, and see you soon.